Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Tamara Cherry, and this is the launch of the Bolo program's Top 25 initiative. I will be the moderator for this news conference. Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Bienvenue à ce lancement de l'initiative Top 25 du programme Bolo. We will start with opening remarks from our three speakers. A question period will follow. Our speakers, as well as police partners in attendance, will then be available for one-on-one interviews after the Q&A. A bilingual virtual question period will also take place at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time for reporters attending this news conference through our live feed. Une période de questions virtuelles bilingues va se tenir à midi 30 heures de l'Est pour les journalistes qui sont en ligne. Many of you know me as a former reporter here in Toronto, and many of you know that much of the work that I do now has to do with supporting trauma survivors in their interactions or lack thereof with the media. And it is through that lens that I began working with the Bolo program, supporting some of their homicide survivors on a few cases beginning last year. And so before I turn the podium over to Toronto Police Chief James Raymer, I'd like to read some brief statements shared by families of some of the victims from the top 25 cases that you're seeing today. The first statement comes from a family who wishes to remain anonymous, as for them, publicity around their loved one's murder has been one of the most difficult aspects of their journey. Many months have passed since our loved one was murdered, but the pain we feel from the way he died, from the way someone chose for him to die, from his empty seat at the table, still feels crippling. As a private family, having our loved one's murder talked about publicly has been incredibly difficult. We are bracing ourselves for another round of seeing his picture, the images from the crime scene, and the man now wanted for his murder, shared on the news and in social media. But we are releasing this statement with hopes that it will lead to his killer finally being caught. Not for us. There will never be any real justice or closure for us. What we have endured, we want those responsible locked up for the sake of our community. What we have endured is something no family should experience. The next statement comes from Kimberly and Scott Gauthier, whose son Chance was murdered in Windsor in 2018. Nuruldin Rabi is wanted for his murder. It has been a little more than 4 years since our 16-year-old son, Chance Gauthier, was ferociously assaulted, kidnapped, and executed at the hands of a man who remains at large. Knowing that he left our son to die, helpless, bleeding and beaten, and having no regard for his suffering or his life, rocks us to our inner core each and every day. No parent should ever have to experience this agony. Seeing the face of the man who killed our son all over the news and social media will cause us to relive that nightmare from February 14th, 2018, all over again. But this is also driving us to release this statement, because this man must be caught. Someone, somewhere, knows something. If that someone is you, please, now is the time to do the right thing. Call police, call Crime Stoppers. Your tip will not bring back our Chance, but perhaps knowing this man is behind bars and another family will not experience this same nightmare will ease some of our anguish. And again, that comes from Kimberly and Scott Gauthier, and the family asks that the members of the media do not reach out to them today. And this final statement comes from Dreama McDonald, whose brother Craig was murdered in Toronto last year in October. The man wanted in Craig's murder, Abdelaziz Mohammed, is featured as the #1 suspect on the top 25 list being announced today. I never thought I would be in this position, crafting a statement about why it is so important for the man wanted in my brother's murder to be caught. I never thought I would even know someone who is murdered, let alone my little brother. Craig was just an ordinary guy, an exceptional guy, but ordinary no less. And he was doing a very ordinary thing, celebrating a Leafs win, when, in the flick of a moment, the flick of a finger, his life was ended. Losing my incredible brother has been a nightmare, but to know that the person responsible has not been brought to justice is a special kind of torture. I don't even want to look at the suspect's face, yet I find myself searching for it every place I go. Please, look at this man's face, know it, remember it, call in that tip. Having him behind bars will not end our nightmare. Nothing will. But it will allow us to take our next step forward and hopefully ensure that another family will not be forced to walk the same path. And again, that is from Dreama MacDonald, sister of Craig MacDonald. I'd now like to invite Toronto Police Chief James Raymer to make a few remarks.
Thank you, Tamara. Good morning. At the Toronto Police Service, keeping our community safe is our #1 priority. To do this successfully, police work closely with members of our communities who are critical partners in keeping Toronto safe. But sometimes, despite our best efforts, violent suspects may evade arrest. Through the Top 25 initiative launching today, the Bolo program is helping police services get more eyes on our cases, prompting more tips about wanted suspects. The police do not need to know who is providing the information, we just need to find the suspect. Tipsters can submit information and collect rewards anonymously without ever speaking to a police officer. Every suspect on display here today has one characteristic in common: being wanted for a major crime such as homicide, attempted murder, or human trafficking. Many of the Toronto cases in the Top 25 reflect the gun violence that has impacted so many people in our communities. The #1 suspect on Bolo's list is a 32-year-old man, Abdulaziz Mohammed. Mohammed is wanted for the murder of 43-year-old Craig MacDonald in a restaurant parking lot last October. We believe Mohammed is in the GTA, and we need to know where. The Bolo program is offering an unprecedented reward of up to $25,000 for information that leads to Mohammed's arrest. We just heard a message from the victim's family. Now help us bring the person responsible for the loved one's murder to justice. We won't be able to take the pain away from a mother who lost her son, a child who lost a parent, or the countless others impacted by these violent crimes. But an arrest can offer some small bit of closure while helping to ensure that nobody else is hurt. That is what this is all about. To the victims and survivors of these crimes, you are not forgotten. You are always top of mind. We will continue to work tirelessly to bring you the answers you seek and bring these perpetrators to justice. Bolo's message is a simple one: be on the lookout. If you see one of the people on the posters behind me, call Crime Stoppers, or call 911, or call the police. If you know where these suspects are, the time has come to give them up. To the suspects featured in the Bolo Top 25, today, your world gets smaller. You've already been looking over your shoulder since you decided to evade arrest. With the major rewards announced today, the loyalty of any friends and associates assisting you in evading arrest will be tested. Do the right thing for yourself, for your family, for your community, and for the many people hurt by these crimes. Call a lawyer or the police and make arrangements to turn yourself in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. Good morning. Bonjour à tous et toutes. Thank you for being here. The Bolo program was launched in 2018 with a simple goal: use innovation to encourage Canadians to be on the lookout for Canada's most wanted, to make our communities safer. Le programme Bolo a été lancé en 2018 avec un objectif simple: utiliser des moyens novateurs pour encourager les citoyens à garder l'œil ouvert pour les suspects les plus recherchés au pays et ainsi rendre nos communautés plus sûres. 4 years later, we can certainly say, without a doubt, that Bolo has made a tangible contribution. We have launched over 20 amplification campaigns highlighting top priority wanted notices in cooperation with our police and Crime Stoppers partners across the country. Our outdoor and digital campaigns featuring most wanted suspects have been seen some 150 million times. We have offered over $1 million in major rewards. More importantly, out of the 18 fugitives featured so far, 7 have been arrested. Our police and Crime Stoppers partners have said it out loud: the Bolo program works. Nos partenaires policiers et Échec au crime l'ont dit haut et fort au cours des dernières années: le programme Bolo fonctionne. Yet, this success is not enough. We've always been about innovating, and we're taking our activities one step further today with the launch of this unprecedented Top 25. Our campaigns and rewards do work, and they will continue, but they are very surgical and can only be rolled out when specific circumstances and requirements are met. What we are announcing today is different. This Top 25 is an opportunity for us to feature more major crime fugitive cases, generate more awareness about fugitives in Canada, and encourage Canadians to be even more on the lookout. Ce Top 25 représente une opportunité de promouvoir encore plus de dossiers de fugitifs dangereux, de sensibiliser davantage la population à cet enjeu et d'encourager les Canadiens et Canadiennes à être encore plus aux aguets. What's more, this list is a living document. What you see today is only the first iteration of our Top 25. As fugitives get arrested, because they will get arrested, the Top 25 will be updated, reshuffled, replenished with new suspects. We expect changes to the list several times per year. The featured cases of this original Top 25 come from 12 different police agencies: Toronto Police Service, York Regional Police, Windsor Police Service, Ontario Provincial Police, Service de police de l'agglomération de Longueuil, Sûreté du Québec, Calgary Police Service, Edmonton Police Service, Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit of British Columbia, RCMP A Division, RCMP M Division, and the United States Marshals Service. Of the 25 cases, nearly half of them are from the Toronto Police Service, including our number one suspect, Mr. Abdelaziz Mohammed. This is deliberate. TPS was our very first police partner, and this Top 25 is launching here in Toronto with a Toronto focus. In cooperation with Toronto Crime Stoppers, the Bolo program is pleased to announce an unprecedented reward for the number one suspect, Mr. Mohammed. The Bolo program is funding a reward up to $250,000. That's $250,000 for any information leading to the arrest of Mr. Mohammed. Le programme Bolo finance une récompense pouvant aller jusqu'à $250,000, c'est-à-dire $250,000 pour toute information menant à l'arrestation de M. Mohammed. If you know where Mr. Mohammed is, just grab the phone and call Crime Stoppers anonymously. Just like all our rewards, this reward will be paid if the information you provided led to the arrest of Mr. Mohammed, period. The potential conviction of Mr. Mohammed has nothing to do with this reward. And as always, you'll get your money quickly through Crime Stoppers. Don't forget, all our rewards expire. The Mohammed reward is only available until October 26th, 2022. If you have something to say about where Mohammed is, or maybe grab the phone and say it now. Just don't wait for another tipster to collect the reward. Call now. Before I conclude, let me go through our top 5 suspects. Kindly note that the lead investigators of these five cases are here in this room and will be available for one-on-one interviews after this press conference. Number 5, Tommy Nago, wanted for murder by the Toronto Police Service with a reward of up to $50,000. Number 4, Noel Rabi, wanted for murder by the Windsor Police Service, also with a reward of up to $50,000. Kier Brian Granado, wanted for murder by the Calgary Police Service, with a reward of up to $100,000. Jean Carl Lorcamp, wanted for murder by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit of British Columbia, also with a reward of up to $100,000. Abdelaziz, number 1, Abdelaziz Mohammed, wanted for murder by the Toronto Police Service with a reward of up to $250,000. Our message to the public is simple: please be on the lookout. And the message to these fugitives is also simple: call a lawyer, call the police, and make arrangements to turn yourself in. Thank you. Merci.
Good morning, and thank you for attending today's announcement. My name is Sean Sporton. I'm the chair of Toronto Crime Stoppers. Across Canada, Crime Stoppers represents a partnership between the public, the police, and the media that provides citizens in our communities a conduit to anonymously provide information about a crime, potential crime, or as with the initiative announced today, information on the whereabouts of wanted suspects. Crime Stoppers allow citizens to provide anonymous information without the fear of retribution, and thanks to the partnership with the Bolo program, the potential of major cash rewards. We believe that community safety is a shared responsibility in which we all play a role. For these reasons, our partnership with the Bolo program over the last 4 years has been a natural one. Crime Stopper programs across Canada have worked closely with the Bolo program on various amplification campaigns, facilitating tips and encouraging community members submitting those tips to remain anonymous. Our role remains the same for this unprecedented Top 25 initiative. For every one of these Top 25 cases, we are ready to go to court. Investigators are not looking for evidence. They are not looking for a witness. They just need to know where these fugitives are located. If you know where any of these suspects are and wish to remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477 or submit a tip online at 222tips.com. Our anonymous phone line and web tips are supervised 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year in over 200 languages. The information you provide to Crime Stoppers will immediately be forwarded to the investigators assigned to all of these cases. And in some cases, you'll be eligible for a reward of up to $50,000, $100,000, and an unprecedented $250,000. Crime Stoppers will guarantee your anonymity, and you will never be required to testify in court. So if you know where any of these fugitives are, if you have any information that can assist investigators involved in these cases, come forward, speak up, and break the code of silence. And by doing so, you'll be making your community safer. I will conclude by once again reminding everyone that community safety is a shared responsibility. Together, we can create a safer community right across Canada. Toronto Crime Stoppers is committed in our efforts to mobilize the community to see it, say it, stop it for a safer Toronto. Remember, with Crime Stoppers, you remain anonymous, criminals don't. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, a little bit shorter than you are, Sean. Thank you, everybody. Before we start our question period, I would just like to remind reporters attending through our live feed that Program Bolo Director Max Langlois and Toronto Crime Stoppers Chair Sean Sporton will be available for a bilingual Q&A at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you wish to attend, please email a request to info@boloprogram.org before 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and a link with instructions to join the Q&A will be provided. We'll now start the question period. Max read off the list of all of the police services who are connected to this case. Representatives from most of these investigations are in the room, but we kindly ask that any case-specific or suspect-specific questions be directed to those investigators after this portion of the Q&A. We'll be rearranging the room so that they can actually do one-on-one interviews with you guys next to the posters of their suspects. Okay? Oh, and may I please ask that any reporters who would like to ask questions now, please go to the microphone that is located to your left to make sure that your online colleagues can hear your question. And please state your name, your media outlet, and to whom your question is addressed.
Hi, Courtney Hills with CP24. Perhaps someone with the Bolo program, how do you determine which case is number one?
I was expecting this question. So it's the sole decision of the Bolo program to determine who was a number one and the reward associated to it. In this case, we have some standards that we follow. Of course, this was going to be a homicide case. It's the gravest crime in our criminal code. In this case, there's a set of particular circumstances also that played in favor of that case. The family of the victim reached out to us several months ago to know what could be done to have this case featured. I'm also going to add that it's a very recent case, and we've seen over the years that we bring better results with recent cases. And it's such a heinous. I mean, all these crimes are heinous, but we're talking about someone who was having fun in a restaurant, and an argument occurred, and he ended up being shot in the parking lot. Wrong time, wrong place, wrong time. So those are the reasons we picked this number one. If we go down, the top 25, you're going to see the top 10 is exclusively homicides. I think, it's supposed to be like that. Again, it's the gravest crime in our criminal code. But we've also made sure that it was a certain diversity and the major crimes featured in this top 25. So you're going to see some human trafficking cases, armed robberies, attempted murder, so on and so forth.
My follow-up, you mentioned this is an unprecedented amount, $250,000 for any information leading to the arrest of this suspect. Is this the most that's been offered up through the Bolo program?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
Hi there, Momin Qureshi with City News 680. I just have a question in general. I know in the past Crime Stoppers used to offer rewards, but that program was discontinued and the money was pushed elsewhere because they found that rewards weren't being picked up or it wasn't as effective. So I just wanted to know, in this case, offering this kind of reward, do you believe it's going to be effective, and why do you believe it's going to be effective in this particular case?
It's been effective. We have paid numerous rewards over the last few years. Those are major rewards. Our standard rewards are $50,000, always up to $50,000. Exceptionally, we were upping the rewards to $100,000 in some cases, but today we're really doing something unprecedented, coming with this top 25 launch. They have made a significant difference in a lot of DRS that have been made for the suspects featured by the Bolo program. Sean will answer your question as well as to why they're not offering rewards anymore.
Thanks, Max, and thanks for the question. So this is when we changed our format of giving back to the community rather than individual tipsters. We still maintain the bylaws that we go by. This is outside the scope of what we normally do with the Bolo program, and that's why we're here encouraging those in the community to come forward with any information on any one of the people that you see around here today.
Okay, great, thanks. And just as a follow-up to that, I know there's a time limit on it, and the time limit goes into October, so I just wanted to know the sort of the reasoning or the logistics behind time limit. Is it to try to give people more incentive to do it quicker, or what is the reasoning behind the time limit?
Yes, these rewards are renewable, but they may expire. There's an expiration date for a reason. Some of our rewards in the past have expired. Some have been renewed. It's really going to depend. There's going to be a conversation with the Toronto Police Service and Toronto Crime Stoppers if we get to that deadline about what to do. But I certainly wouldn't count on it to be renewed. Actually, I'm counting on this reward to be picked up in the next few weeks.
Thank you.
Hello, Mike Walker from CTV Toronto. I just have one quick question for you, sir, from the Bolo program. With previous initiatives, we've seen a heavy presence on social media, getting the word out, also presence in the community. Is anything else going to be done differently to get the word out to generate those tips you need to find these suspects?
So thank you for this question, very relevant. The core activities of the Bolo program will remain the same. So we're talking major outdoor advertisements. You're going to see billboards when we feature these cases. You're going to see billboards in Toronto for the Mr. Mohammed case over the next few weeks. What we're doing differently today, you're going to see social media elements as well being promoted online. But what we're doing different today is this overarching layer that we're putting to the Bolo program. Instead of just featuring coming in surgically on these cases that require our attention, we want to raise awareness about all these cases, this most wanted issue in general, and the fact that the community can help in catching these people by being on the lookout.